Shema Israel. I hope you enjoy this next study. My name's Dee. This is my wife, Millie.
So if you like what you see, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you wish to reach out to us, you can email us at devotedtoyah@gmail.com.
A lot of work that still needs to be done. Okay? And I wasn't sharing my screen again. I apologize. But this is the passage we are addressing right now. All right? So I think this is talking about the prophecies of his first coming as a humble, suffering servant. Okay? Born of a woman, born of a virgin. Yahusha opened up Isaiah and said, grace has been given unto me to preach the good news, to bring sight to the blind, right? This passage, Matthew 11, starts off with that. Up here, it says, Yahusha answered and said to them, go and tell John the things which you hear and see. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. Sounds like he's fulfilling one of the prophecies of Isaiah, literally. So that's what I believe this passage is talking about regarding John and the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you are willing to receive it, he is Elijah who is to come. He is the Elijah who is to come. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Okay. I do not believe personally that John was Elijah reincarnated. Okay, there's some people that believe this. I don't believe that. I believe that the name Elijah, the purpose, the spirit that he operated in was the purpose that was given in the prophecies regarding Elijah. So it wasn't that Elijah was going to be reincarnated or born again, because John was literally born of a woman. So I don't believe that was going to happen. I believe that is a spiritual statement there. Verse 15, it says, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. Whenever you hear this, is basically, I just told you something spiritual. And if you're trying to think cognitively and using logic and common sense, you're probably not going to get it. You need spiritual eyes to understand what I'm saying. Usually when you hear that phrase, that's probably because he just told you something that's spiritual. Not to say that it's secret and mysterious. It's not that mysterious. If you have eyes to see it, I guess. I don't know. Verse 16, but to what shall I liken this generation? What's wrong with this generation? The kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. That's one of the problems. But to what shall I liken this generation? It is like children sitting in the marketplaces and calling to their companions and saying, we played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We mourned to you, and you did not lament. We gave you the call. We let you know, but you weren't doing what people should do at these particular types of calls. Verse 18, for John came neither eating nor drinking. He wasn't well-filled. He wasn't prosperous and materialistically, economically, probably wealthy. Okay, that's what I get from that passage. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. Who's they? They would be those who are sleeping, those who can't see, those who don't have ears to see, the generation that Yahusha is talking about here. To what shall I liken this generation? The generation that's getting their butt kicked by a violent kingdom that is coming against the kingdom of Israel. All the sleepers are saying that John has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, I don't know if this is talking about fasting. Maybe it's talking about John fasting a lot. Yahusha did fast as well. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights. I don't know how frequently he fasted. I know that there are mentions in the New Testament, in the Gospel letters, where I think it's John's disciples were fasting, and they were asking, "Why aren't your disciples fasting, Yahusha?" And Yahusha told them, why should they fast while the bridegroom is with them? But there's coming a time where the bridegroom will be taken away. Then they will fast. Then they will mourn. So I don't know if this is I don't know if it's talking about fasting. I don't. Was Yahusha wealthy? I think he was living okay. He was a carpenter. He could work with his own hands. He was mobile. I don't think he had much to worry about when it came to sustaining himself. I don't read that about John. I don't even know what his occupation was. I don't know if anybody knows what his occupation was, but I don't really read much about it. So it seemed to me that John was in a more humble stature, more lowly stature than Yahusha. Yahusha wasn't super rich either. Okay, he was living comfortably. He's probably like your middle class working man. Okay, John, I don't know. I don't feel like John was a middle class working man. I feel like he was in the lower class, and his dad was a priest. But I don't hear of John participating with the priesthood of that time. I don't hear about him being part of that priesthood, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. I don't see him being part of that. I never heard of him having a seat in the temple, and he took a different route. Anyway, and they say, look, so of Yahusha, they say, look, a glutton and a wine bibber, somebody who drinks a lot, somebody who eats a lot, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Again, this is what wicked people are saying, so you can't take this literally. I know some people who are like, yeah, did you know that Jesus was a friend of tax collectors and sinners? Hold up. Let's go to the passage. Let's read the passage. First of all, that same passage that says he was a friend of tax collectors and sinners claimed that he was a glutton and a wine bibber. So are you saying that he was also a glutton and a drunkard? Obviously not. So these are wicked people who are assuming false things about our Messiah. Did the Messiah eat with tax collectors? Did he eat with sinners? Yes. What was the purpose of him eating and sitting with tax collectors? It was to call them to repentance. There's a passage in the gospel letters that says that. It is not he did not come for those who are healed. He came for those who are sick. The ones who are sick need a physician. And he called sinners to repentance. That's why he was sitting with the sinners and the tax collectors. He wasn't becoming friends of them, you know. And that's a lesson, a quick lesson off the top of my head that I want to say is be careful who you call friends. Friendship is a form of covenant. Friendship is a form of covenant. And we are not to be friends of the world. We are not to be friends of the world. Are we allowed to be acquaintances? Yes. My neighbor? Yes. Am I to help my neighbor and be nice to my neighbor? Sure. Even my enemies. We can help our enemies. Okay? But be careful who you call friend. I think friend is a lot more serious than the way we use the word friend today. We use it very loosely. Yeah, that's my friend. Yeah, we're friends. But anyway, just my thoughts. But wisdom is justified by her children. So some lessons in here. Lesson here is talking about John, Yahusha giving a message to his disciples. John the Baptist sends messengers to Yahusha. Okay. And Yahusha also, let's see, Messiah. So when John had heard in prison about the works of Messiah, he sent two of his disciples and said to him, are you the coming one, or do we look for another? So John sends the two disciples to Yahusha. And Yahusha answers them, go and tell John the things which you hear and see, right? So he sends back the message. As they departed, Yahusha began to say to the multitudes concerning John, what did you go out to see? So now he starts telling the people about John. And so there's this revelation of who John is. John is preparing. Remember the prophecy in Malachi chapter 3? Malachi prophesied of this messenger coming to prepare the way of the Lord or of the Messiah that people are waiting for. Yeah, that John is talking about me. And that guy John, that's who Malachi 3 was talking about. So that's what was discussed in here. Um I think that's the big message to get out of this. There are also some other lessons about, the role of John and prophecy and least and greatest. We went over that as well.